people were fed up with the 1 year of continuously fighting the COVID first wave, and it was curve was flattening. Many things were there. Some sort were doing their analysis of the health infrastructure, etc. But we have a federal structure in the country where some roles are assigned to the states and some are assigned to the center. Then there are various institutions like Election Commission, court, etc. Other institutions are there which look after various other aspects. So that nobody expected, even those who are, I'm a student of economics, and we have been reading about various modeling which estimates what will be the extent of second wave, what will be the number, what will be the extrapolated various requirements, that at the public level, surely there was completely lowering of the guard, and the social distancing protocol norms, COVID protocols were completely being ignored. Everything like even religious festival, cultural activities, entertainment activities, restaurants, all activities were getting normalized. Delhi government, AAP government, under Arvind Kejriwal, is responsible for the sorry state of affairs. Delhi government is saying that we don't have any oxygen plant now. So who is responsible? When, as you mentioned, that when the PM CARES fund had allocated about 8 funds to be set up for PSA plants, and Delhi government could very well have set up oxygen concentrators, small plants in various hospitals, and it completely did not do any part of it. Now they are running saying, please arrange some containers. So what is the futuristic plan that you are going about? You are the capital of the country, and SDRF, disaster recovery, is under the state subject. You have 13th April. He said that everything is fine. Our oxygen is sufficiently there. Our beds are sufficient, and we are well prepared. And on 20th, you suddenly come out and tweet that people will die on the street. What panic you want to create? But there are certain companies which were not happy that India's were not happy. International vaccine producers, etc., were not happy with the vaccination program that India had embarked upon, and more than 14 crore vaccination under the initiative like Atmanirbhar Bharat, etc.
Welcome viewers, I am Alankar Srivastav and this is Middle Class Hub. Viewers, as you all know, we are going through a tough time. The second wave of Corona has hit us really hard. And we at Middle Class Hub believe that somewhere down the line, when you look back, it seems we have lowered our guards too early, too soon. And it applies to everyone, to common people, to the public at large, to the governments, to systems. So in some way that has also played a huge role in hitting us so badly this time around. So to talk about the current situation, the efforts being made at a war footing to ramp up health infrastructure, we have with us Mr. Gopal Agrawal, National Spokesperson of the Bharatiya Janata Party. Mr. Agrawal, welcome to Middle Class Hub, India's first platform.
Namaskar. Thank you.
I hope sir you are fine and doing fine.
Yeah, everything is fine. We are also running a help desk helpline for COVID patient, or as earlier, those help desk where we are busy at present, working for the whatever support base that we can generate.
So, Mr. Agrawal, let's start with what I make a remark, my initial observation that is it, do you also feel that we all, and that includes public, and it applies to the governments, center, state governments, we all have become complacent, kind of COVID fatigue that we have been talking about for last couple of months, and we actually lowered our guard too early, too soon, and that's why we were caught napping when it hit us so bad. What are your views on that, sir?
On the hindsight, it can be said like this, and you are rightly mentioned, Alankaji, ki about this fatigue. People were fed up with the 1 year of continuously fighting the COVID first wave, and it was curve was flattening. Many things were there, but basically you cannot completely say that everything was. We completely lowered our guard. The government, etc., were doing their analysis of the health infrastructure, etc. But we have a federal structure in the country where some roles are assigned to the states and some are assigned to the center. Then there are various institutions like Election Commission, court, etc. Other institutions are there which look after various other aspects. So in a democracy, certain kind of decision-making process seeps into the system, and the health ministry had in earlier time came out with a report with the deficiency in the health infrastructure. And a second important part was that nobody expected, even those who are, I am a student of economics, and we have been reading about various modeling which estimates what will be the extent of second wave, what will be the number, what will be the extrapolated various requirements. And even our health institutions, etc., were also not expecting so severity in the second wave, and the number estimation of the numbers of endemic infected was not rightly could be assessed, and therefore the certain this constraint on the health infrastructure with regard to oxygen, health beds, etc., have come about. The second is also, I am very much agree with you that at the public level, surely there was completely lowering of the guard, and the social distancing protocol norms, COVID protocols were completely being ignored. Everything like even religious festival, cultural activities, entertainment activities, restaurants, all activities were getting normalized. But sure, that is sure that everybody wanted things to normalize, but COVID related protocol and behavior was completely ignored, and that has costed us heavily in this crisis today.
I'm glad, Mr. Agrawal, you mentioned about federal structure, because at least at middle class, we believe that there's too much federalism that is also hampering our fight against COVID. I just like to bring to your notice and your views on that. There have been several states that are, having kind of disputes among them regarding supply of oxygen and other essential drugs, to say. And the example, the foremost is, of course, the Delhi and Haryana. Then down south, Tamil Nadu is raising objection when it comes to oxygen supply to neighboring Telangana and Andhra Pradesh. So do you think too much of federalism also is really, has got us to this position?
No, I don't call it too much of federalism, because in a democracy, federal structure is what we want. And federal structure is not between only center and state. Federalism is also division of rules and powers and responsibility and accountability between various institutions. If we have ICMR, IMA, even professional institutions and hospital structures, etc., they have a different role, and every role has been defined, and that also all forms part of the governance infrastructure that has to be respected, and we respect that because democracy has always been our hallmark, and it has benefited us in many aspects. So unified command, etc., are though required at point of time, but this federal structure has stood the test of the time. So I respect that, and I understand that that is also very important for our governance model. But the thing is that in the first wave, due to the implementation of NDRF, National Disaster Recovery Module, etc., many things, and the considering the poor health infrastructure, which was there in since independence, and we found it to be a very poor with regard to hospital ventilators, beds, PPE kit, and other fighting such kind of huge epidemic. The poor infrastructure required a centralized action from the central government, and Pradhan Mantri Modi ji has a strong work culture that he puts a lot of effort, and therefore he had put all effort, and a national lockdown was implemented. But ultimately, what is I feel is falling after that was failing is that the states completely disowned, some of the states particularly completely disowned their responsibilities, because ultimately the responsibility and accountability of states and center is very well defined by our constitution, and health is a state subject. So the states, some states where you find a severe epicenter of the epidemic, particularly Delhi, Maharashtra, etc., there the health infrastructure was pointed out by the health ministry. No action was taken, and once then the crisis did happen. There was nobody expected, state, center, even institutions. But when the crisis happened, the panic creation was not correct, and that creation of panic itself precipitated some of the problems much more. Like people started running after remdesivir, which even those people who did not require it, and where doctors, etc., were clearly saying that these medicines have to be taken under a medical guidance and proper prescription, etc. You don't need to take them at home, and they are not coming under the life-saving drugs, etc. Still, people were trying to hoard it, black marketing started, etc. And same thing, though oxygen is a life-saving commodity, and its availability is a constraint, but then distribution, central government has a responsibility of making only availability and allocation of the oxygen, and for that central government has acted in a very judicious and a unified manner and equitable manner. But then the certain state government like Delhi, which even a high court reprimanded, that you cannot just say and expect when the central government has allocated the oxygen from various plants, you have to make effort to collect them, transport them, logistic arrangement have to be done. And then you cannot just expect the center to provide them at your doorstep. I live in Noida. Inox is supplying oxygen to many places in hospitals in Delhi. 2-3 days back, they were saying that we have not been given any plan of distribution, which hospital need how much. So how can we ourselves go? And then SOS, public posturing, etc., have complicated some of the problem. But I think now the situation is under control. People have understood that. But still, one thing I would like to mention here is very important for middle class and people like you who are active in the social media, digital platform, etc., is there is a clear-cut narration which is trying to amplify the crisis into a panic situation. And if you look which FIR UP government has filed against some of the Twitter handles, etc., where a similar kind of negative news, same word, same thing, and which seems to be fake, completely similar kind of news were being shared on the social media to create panic. And there is an ecosystem also which even central government pointed out to the social media platforms like Twitter, Facebook, etc., where they said that you cannot support the content has to be defined as per the rules of the land, and you cannot you have to act into those matters and see that you cannot emphasize into the crisis mongering, etc. So these things are also there, and there is seems to be a clear-cut ecosystem which builds a narration which is at times not conducive to the welfare of the people of the country, and it is seems to be working with a vested interest, and that also has to be fought by people like your digital platforms. And I would like social media people, middle class people who are very active on the social media, to counter them, check them, and don't get away by fake news or certain narrations which are building. Central government, state government, and institutions are well in command. They are acting, though there is a problem of logistics with regard to supply and transportation, but the central government is now taking care of availability, distribution, and international community, international countries like France, Germany, United Kingdom, USA, Singapore, they have all come in this time of crisis to help India. And because of our COVID Maitri, and our Prime Minister has also been working to help other countries, so they have come forward, and that's a welcome step, and we thank. And within 3-4 days, I think the things will be under control. Railway has come out with the 64,000 new beds, makeshift beds for isolation and other things in different cities. State governments are also working together, and we have a strong vaccination program by the center. And from 1st May, people above the age group of 18 years will also start getting vaccination. So people have to take care. You don't think that only civil society has no responsibility, everything will be done by the center or the state government. Everybody has to work for his own welfare and well-being.
No, that's very correctly put. When it comes to countering some orchestrated narrative that is being built. And of course, people at large, they have a responsibility toward not just to themselves, to their families, to the society, to the country also. So that seems lacking, that's no doubt. Let's stick to the two worst hit states, Delhi and Maharashtra. I want your reaction on that. There are some reports that say that back in the month of December, if not January, PM CARES Fund, they allotted funds to both Maharashtra and Delhi to building about 10 and 8 oxygen plants. But we are now April, we are at the end of April. Only one plant has been built in Maharashtra and in Delhi. And why I brought this and why I want your reaction, because whenever we talk to people, people call us mostly from the middle class, working class people, and they say that because they are seeing what's happening. Now, when it comes to Delhi government, so many people have called. It's just the people's voice that I'm bringing to this platform and getting it to you, that the Delhi government was quite actively involved in, appropriating the farmers' agitation. And then Maharashtra, there were so many things that were happening, which was never, aimed at the welfare of society at large, because so many other things were happening. I don't want to mention all that, but it seems public also got a sense that when you got to be working, you got the funds, you got the budget that was meant for it, but then 4 or 5 months is too much of a time. You didn't even get site clearances. So somewhere there needs to be some kind of accountability also to people who run the government, isn't it, sir?
Definitely, if you look into the Delhi issue, the crisis is extremely much more precipitated in Delhi state. And the Delhi government, AAP government, under Arvind Kejriwal, is responsible for the sorry state of affairs. I told you about the Inox experience here in Noida. They did not, they were the hospitals, etc., were sending SOS, and even the deputy chief minister, etc., were pointing out. But they had not even given the plan of distribution of oxygen to various hospitals from Inox. How a company can distribute and send oxygen without their distribution schedule? That is one thing. The High Court reprimanded, as I mentioned you, about the way the chief secretaries, etc., were acting without any accountability or responsibility of their own, just crying and just putting the that oxygen please. And so they were expecting like that it will be served at their doorstep. And the third thing important in the High Court was also pointed out, a very serious social media was said, several nodal officers were appointed by the Delhi government, and the hospitals clearly said that we are calling those nodal officers for oxygen, etc. But neither they, many of them are not even picking up their phone. So today only they have put up a dashboard where hospitals will provide information and a distribution will take place. The third important part is about the oxygen plant. Delhi government is saying that we don't have any oxygen plant now. So who is responsible? When, as you mentioned, that when the PM Cares Fund had allocated about 8 funds to be set up for PSA plants, and Delhi government could very well have set up oxygen concentrators, small plants in various hospitals, and it completely did not do any part of it. Neither those 8 plants for which funds were sanctioned were implemented. Then neither plants for oxygen extraction and concentration were set up with the hospitals, considering that Delhi doesn't have any oxygen generating plant. He himself is saying, Arvind Kejriwal, so those were not even taken care of. And even they don't have even transportation containers. And now they are running saying, please arrange some containers. So what is the futuristic plan that you are going about? You are the capital of the country, and SDRF, disaster recovery, is under the state subject. You have been empowered to do it. Then if on 13th April, he said that everything is fine, our oxygen is sufficiently there, our beds are sufficient, and we are well prepared. And on 20th, you suddenly come out and tweet that people will die on the street. What panic you want to create? So this thing is quite very much obvious. And another point that I would like to particularly mention about is, I saw one statement somewhere that obviously freebies are not so much free. So middle class should understand the freebies of water, electricity, which was which was implemented in Delhi. Somebody has to pay the cost, and ultimately this cost is being extracted in a very difficult situation. I think this is there. And Maharashtra, what they did, Maharashtra is having the largest resources, and the government health infrastructure was pointed out that it is poor, and it is the epicenter of these 2 states are the epicenter of the second wave. And epicenter means where the epidemic explodes. and from there, which is the center of this large scale crisis. And these two seems to be the epicenter. And not Maharashtra government went ahead and started, they arrested a private company which was manufacturing remdesivir. So this kind of crisis steps and creating panic, etc., have precipitated. They needed to be more vigilant on their health infrastructure. And I agree that nobody knew about the extent of the crisis and the number of cases and the requirement. But at least the loopholes or gaps which were pointed out by the Ministry of Health, which you are saying that around January or February, there was a empowered group committee of the health ministry, which pointed out gaps in the health infrastructure. They should have been, as much as possible, should have been controlled and removed.
I think what reflects very poorly on us as a nation is when we are talking about the national capital and the financial capital. Now, if at the heart of the national capital and financial capital, hospitals, there is a mad scramble for oxygen beds, oxygen, essential drugs. And so, I mean, one can only imagine the situation in the interiors of our country, in the tier 2 cities, in the smaller cities and villages. So that someone has to take some responsibility and ramp up the, we know infrastructure can't be ramped up in a day or two, but even many doctors we have spoken to who are treating corona patients on a day-to-day basis, they say that there has been a precedent, history, the data, if you see, the second wave is always more lethal, more dangerous. Okay, the extent, nobody can gauge what would be the extent of that. But then during this period, when the last year, end of the last year, when there was a slightly dip in the number of cases, I think that was the time to ramp up the infrastructure, at least work on the logistics, how you are going to take oxygen to different hospitals and all. But that also seemed to not have worked, because it's a fact that many people have died because of lack of oxygen. And for us as a country, India in 2021, it reflects a very sorry state of affairs. Isn't it, sir?
But yeah, Alankarji, one thing I would just mention here is that many of the doctors, you must have also talked. We are also running a helpline here in Noida for providing whatever help we can do to the people with regard to online doctor consultation, free doctor consultation, arranging for various follow-up with various hospitals where beds are available, what can be done, and supply of normal general medicines to their home, even giving them psychiatric and psychological consultation, etc. That is also required. One thing I would like to mention here, that what your middle class hub, through your middle class hub people can do is, doctors have been very categorically saying that there are three types of level of endemic corona crisis. One is mild, moderate, and severe. What is happening, even mild and moderate infected people are also running for hospital beds. And they are also asking for how to get oxygen. They should get remdesivir medicines, etc. What doctors have been advising that mild people don't require hospitalization. Home isolation is best for them. And I must tell you that people should not run after hospital. Hospital only should be available for critical patient, because there is high level of concentration of this infection in the hospitals, and your families, etc., and your patient, if he is mildly infected and goes to the hospital, the impact of this infection virus is very much concentrated. So mild home isolation is best for them. There is a clear-cut guideline from various institutions, health ministry, state health ministry department, certain hospitals like Medanta and AIMS and other, they have a clear-cut guideline on oximeter checking and preventive medicines and Ayush Kada, etc. and liquid diet, protein, high protein, nutritious diet, and nariyal pani, etc. So that is the best way to recover fast and for mild patient. And the moderate, there is required a online. They also should be living in the home isolation only. Best that they stay in home isolation, because better medical, better nursing care can be given to people at home. In hospital, there are difficulties with regard to paramedic and nursing staff, etc. But they require moderate patient, infected patient require online doctor consultation, and there are available online consultation. In 2-3 days, they should regularly get into their consultation. And only the severe patient should go, who have comorbidity or other complications, they should go to the hospital. That way, the pressure on the hospital, etc., will also be reduced, and pressure on oxygen, etc., will be reduced. And doctors say that 90% of the patient are between mild and moderate category, and severe are 10%. So that is a better way. People should take a informed guidance from people, and a basic clearly oximeter thumb rule is that if your oxygen level is between 95 to 100, you are in the mild category. Though if you don't have any other comorbidity like diabetes or blood pressure or heart ailment or lungs ailment, etc., kidney problem, etc., then you are under the mild category. Comorbidity is a severe category, and your oxygen level is 95 to 100. You can continue under a continuous observation and health supplements, etc., and preventive precautions steps. And on moderate, it is said that 90 to 95 oxygen level, saturation level, is coming under the moderate level, where you need a doctor guidance periodically and continuous observation, and below that is surely a severe category. So I think people should also look into this matter, and that will save a lot of constraint which the administration and various hospitals are facing. Once this load comes down, then I think the balance will be very much taken care by the administration.
Yeah, as you rightly mentioned, even Prime Minister also mentioned the dangers of misinformation. We also believe that misinformation is as deadly as coronavirus. And a lot of the problems can be attributed to fake news, a lot of negativity being propelled, through digital media. And as one prominent doctor pointed to me that the biggest problem is not the people or the governments or the systems. There are two problems. One is Dr. Google and Mr. WhatsApp. So these two platforms are, propelling a lot of information and negative information and misguided information. So it's always better, as Prime Minister said, that always take information from reliable sources. Talk to the doctors, not to everybody, because on WhatsApp, every other person is an expert on corona. So that is also, I think, leading to a lot of problems in the current situation. So we have been getting a lot of calls, and I would like to just run through some of the questions that viewers have sent, even sending right now. The assembly elections, on these we received a lot of queries. So I want your considered view on that. What people are saying that agreed assembly elections were due, the term was getting over, but why couldn't the elections could have been postponed by 6 months and the states could have put under precedent rule? So what would you say, sir, on behalf of the central government?
I would like to say that, as I mentioned, that in the federal structure, all decisions are not by the Prime Minister or the central government. It is the Election Commission which takes these decisions about holding various elections, how many phases, when, timing, everything is a responsibility of the Election Commission. So it had taken a call. BJP itself and everybody takes part in whatever schedule is given to and protocol given to the parties by the Election Commission. So primary responsibility is of the Election Commission. Second thing that I would like to mention here is, at a hindsight, definitely you can say that they could have been avoided, it would have been better. But what I would like to mention here is the epicenter of the second wave is not where assembly elections have taken place, because Kerala, it is not like that. Even Tamil Nadu or other states where is not, even Assam and Bengal is not an epicenter of the second wave. The epicenter is Maharashtra and Delhi. And there is no election. Even UP now has many cases, but UP has a very large population, and UP government is taking care of many things very efficiently. But there is no election here. So this is also to be understood. And the third point that I would like to mention is that nobody expected at that, when these elections were etc. were declared, that the extent will be so high or extent will be so severe. So all these things at the hindsight, definitely we can say it could have been avoided. But then these things, and once we came to know BJP, everybody, we have cancelled our rallies in West Bengal. Prime Minister cancelled, BJP also cancelled, and the Election Commission took cognizance and reduced the period of campaigning by closing it 72 hours before that. Those things are being taken care of, but we have to look into various aspects, and that way those institutions take an independent and decisions.
Yes, point taken. And there is another question from the viewers that on the hindsight, as you rightly said, are there things, something that the center could have done more in terms of diffusing the crisis among states? Should there have been more effort on part of the central government? Because bickering among the states is the worst thing that can happen in today's time, because every life of every single Indian is precious. So, or is there any mechanism in place where central government can step in with more force, and try to mediate among states?
I don't think this bickering is mostly because of politics, of the state politics. And common man should not worry about that much, because the public posturing of some of the states which take, with whether it is about vaccination or oxygen supply or other thing, are just a political posturing, more with regard to political posturing. Because in the vaccination case, earlier states were asking that give us some independence on the vaccination strategy of the, and allow us to procure vaccination independently. When the center came out with that policy, some states are pointing out that no, this is not correct. So then what the differential pricing, there is a issue being raised in the public domain, when Dr. Harshvardhan has clarified that whatever 50% vaccine the center is procuring at a reduced price, that is not, center is not providing vaccination, it is giving it free to the states. So 50% whatever center is procuring, it is also giving to the states, and whatever the center policy of giving free vaccination to the people, for that the center is continuously providing the supply free of cost to the state. Second thing was, in the balance also, the price, as the states are free to negotiate with the companies. Government has allowed even foreign companies vaccinations to, like Sputnik has been given permission, more vaccines which are approved by WHO and other international organizations, they will be fast track permission for that. But we should understand that there are issues, because these are commercial organizations, even vaccine suppliers. And I don't want to name those companies, but there are certain companies which were not happy that India's were not happy, international vaccine producers, etc., were not happy with the vaccination program that India had embarked upon, and more than 14 crore vaccination under the initiative like Atmanirbhar Bharat, etc., at a low cost. Central government was able to procure and provide free to the people. There was commercial angle in it, and people just get carried away with their narrations, and some politicians and some social media ecosystem also work in their favor, and their commercial interests are being taken care of. I know many of the issues, but I would not like to name those people or the companies. But I would definitely, through your medium, would request people not to get carried away by general narration, as you have also said that, but look into official press releases by the ministry, health ministry. It is publicly clearly available in the public domain. And listen to senior doctors like Dr. Guleria, who are very efficiently giving their advices on the television channels, Dr. Trehan, Devi Shetty, many people who are well known into the public domain are giving their well-informed advices. You should depend on that and have faith that once you have given a responsibility to the government, and the Prime Minister is working day and night, and we know, we are closely associated with the government, how much effort the Prime Minister puts for everything, time, energy, focused approach, and these kind of endemic requires certain patience and joint effort by all of us and public awareness. Once I think if you follow the COVID protocol, at least you particularly and your family will be safe.
So definitely that, I mean, that's one thing that the country needs much more than anything else. People following COVID appropriate behavior, not relying on misinformation, rather, try to gather information only from the reliable sources. As you rightly said, there are official platforms. So whatever information you need, there are well-known doctors who are every other day on TV channels talking about dispelling the misconceptions and myths. Because a lot of people also say that over the last year or so, I mean more than a year now, there has been so much of content regarding this coronavirus that has also led, there are some serious mental health issues also among so many people. So that also is a kind of creating a kind of fear mongering, very scary situation when the situation is not that bad. Of course, on the ground, there are difficulties. Patients are running from hospitals to hospitals. We can't turn a blind eye to that. But we should try to, reduce the negativity that is around. That is also very important in the fight against corona. Do you, Mr. Agrawal, think that a polio-like campaign would be more effective when it comes to corona vaccination, the way the program is being rolled out? So do you think that is something that the government wants to explore?
I would like to mention here is that people who are vaccinated first and second time also are not completely not prone to any infection. That is very clear. We should understand this. And vaccine only reduces the impact of the COVID intensity. And people should not think that the vaccine, once they get vaccinated, everything, nothing can happen to them. So it is quite different, like polio and other thing. And there still the studies are under nascent stage that whether people will be requiring periodic further vaccinations also. And then there is a problem of about mutant. Now there is a third strain which is called a double mutant, and people are also apprehensive that it may dodge vaccine and the antibodies that are generated through it. So these issues are under a nascent state, and at least government has embarked upon a very strong vaccination drive. People should go for vaccination, and from first day, even people from 18 years above have been allowed for vaccination. More and more people should be encouraged, and more vaccination program will improve as the things pass. It is in a continuous working model stage, and new vaccines will be coming. Then we are happy that USA, this Bharat Biotech was facing, and Serum Institute was facing certain constraints with regard to raw materials for manufacturing of vaccine, and we needed to import them from USA. They have yesterday, by the efforts of the Prime Minister and NSA, have agreed to fast track the supply, which was at present earlier was hindered and stopped. So these issues, as they arise, they will be resorted to, and all vaccination program across countries globally is in a phased manner, and India is also embarked onto this phased manner. Like earlier, first above 65 years of age people were vaccinated, then 45 years above plus people were vaccinated with comorbidity, etc. Now government has allowed for all people. Earlier, these corona warriors and frontline workers were vaccinated. So this is a phased manner by which government is trying to work out a schedule and implementing it.
Mr. Agrawal, for those who are on the margins, I believe central government has announced free food grains for them. So can you talk about for which month it applies, and what's the quantity of that food grain that has been announced for our viewers?
Because there are from the certain state, though central government has said that we will not impose a lockdown, national lockdown, and we are not in favor of any national lockdown. And the policy of our government is that to put up a policy strategy with regard to containing and the containment zones, whether it's at the district level or state level. And states and the district administration has been given free hand to impose whatever restrictions they feel necessary into their containment zone. And there was a study by the Niti Aayog and Health Ministry, which said that almost 348 districts are not facing any severe COVID crisis. So the focus of the government and the district administration and state government and central government is to have a restrictive containment zone policies with either through lockdown or allowing essential services or imposing night curfews, weekend curfews and other policies. And each state and district will follow its own policy. But still, there was certain panic and labor started migrating. And therefore, considering their plight of working, the Prime Minister announced a scheme for May and June, free rations to all through the public distribution systems, which was earlier announced for a longer period. Now it has been extended for 2 more months, where rice and wheat and this pulses, etc., will be given freely to those in need under the public distribution system for the month of May and June. 2 months have been extended for the provision of free food items to the needy people.
And it would cover around 80 crore beneficiaries. That's what I am told.
Yeah, all the PDS, 80 crore beneficiaries who are below poverty line. Earlier, the government had extended that even those who are not having their ration cards, they will also be covered. So everybody who is below poverty line, BPL person, below poverty line family, will be eligible for getting this benefit. And even we had extended in the earlier time that ration card can be from any place, but you can even get it from your different location, national level, so that migration labor are not unnecessarily find it difficult to get these rations. So those have been extended for 2 more months.
See, that's a very significant policy decision, and that's the sad reality of our times. Because this simple decision for extending food grains for 2 months of May and June is going to benefit 80 crore families, and still there is no discussion.
80 crore people.
Sorry, 80 crore people. I apologize. And but still, there is not much of discussion on those lines, because if there is enough discussion on these issues, a lot of migration that's happening and creating a lot of problems in between, that could have been solved. So we at Middle Class Hub, that is our belief, that unless and until you bring real issues at the fore, because not coming, the point is those issues not coming out in the public domain and being discussed as much as it should have been. That also is one of the reasons why the country is pushed back whenever we seem to win a battle. Do you see light at the end of the tunnel, and when? Because this tunnel seems to be never ending, sir. So with your experience, your consultations with different stakeholders, what do you feel? By when can we see this pandemic second wave, the curve flattening or plateauing at least?
I would like to be very positive in this approach, because 2 days back, if you look, the number of cases are rising, but the speed of increase has slowed down. That is very significant. That total cases day before yesterday was around 3,46,000. And yesterday, I think it was 3,49,000. So, and earlier the daily increase was much faster. So the pace of increase, though overall number is increasing, pace of increase is slowed down, one thing. Second thing is oxygen allocation, etc., is now completely under control, and distribution and management will also in 3-4 days, I think it will be streamlined, and every hospital, etc., will get many new initiatives have been taken. Even 23,000 oxygen concentrators, equipment, mobile and fixed, have been procured and ordered from Germany. Even USA is providing these equipments, etc., for mobile concentration, etc. So the healthcare facility with regard to oxygen will be taken care of. And the as I mentioned, that the Railway Ministry has increased the capacity of beds by 64,000 beds across India. One thing, many hospitals are being implemented at DRDO, ITBP, etc., is there, and hospitals, etc., are also ramping up their bed availability. The constraint was about the oxygen. Once this oxygen constraint is removed, people can easily set up beds and increase in the hospital. Even people can get oxygen concentrator and oxygen cylinder at home for home isolation, for taking care of moderate patients. So all this will reduce the load on the health infrastructure, and the severity of mild and moderate patient is not that difficult. That fatality rate the government is trying to reduce and improve upon, and therefore, though people may get larger number of people may get infected, but the people will definitely come out of this crisis. So I am hopeful that this whole effort of the individual people, but ultimately individual will have to be very careful with regard to COVID protocol. Unless you follow that with masking putting mask, keeping distance, only going out with very urgent requirement, and not getting into any crowded place, etc. So all the three individual efforts, joint effort by the local administration, state government, and the center, and global cooperation, I think we will come out of this crisis soon.
That's nice to hear. I mean, it's good to end on a positive note. And as you rightly said, global cooperation, cooperation efforts of center as well as the states, and more importantly, the individual role in terms of having, COVID appropriate behavior, wearing masks, sanitization, not stepping out if not necessary. So these things will definitely help us a lot, and we hope to we want to tide over the crisis now and move on with the development of our country. Thank you so much, Mr. Agrawal, because a lot of people wanted to hear from the perspective of the ruling party at the center, because we have been getting, emails, calls, that there was a lot of confusion over the last 10-15 days regarding where it seems that everybody was caught totally napping. The government was doing nothing. Thank you so much for putting forward your perspective. And I hope viewers would listen to it very carefully, and also, follow all the COVID appropriate behavior and guidelines that the medical fraternity has time and again, advocating for. Thank you so much, Agrawal, and we wish you all the best, and stay safe, stay healthy. And it was a pleasure speaking to you, sir.
Thank you very much for this Middle Class Hub, for giving me this opportunity to communicate to all of you. I wish you a good health to all your viewers and yourself. And I want to assure also that the central government and the various institutions, etc., are completely vigilant on the things, and they are taking care of whatever problem. But we all have to help our near and dear ones and families and colleagues. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.